King's Dominion has finally revealed the details of the new launched B&M wing coaster coming to the park in 2025. Introducing Rapterra. Today I will be going over all you need to know about Rapterra, this large coaster coming to King's Dominion for next season, and then I'll be giving my thoughts on it. So let's get into it. So Rapterra will be the second launched wing coaster by B&M here in the United States. Most of you are probably familiar with Thunderbird at Holiday World, which many people, myself included, consider it the best wing coaster out there. So it is nice to see another one get built here in the States. This is also King's Dominion's second B&M coaster, the other one being Dominator, which was actually relocated from Geauga Lake. So technically, this is King's Dominion's first custom B&M coaster specifically built for King's Dominion. Also, this is King's Dominion's largest addition since Intimidator, well, technically Project 305 in 2010. While they have opened 2 new roller coasters since then, they are technically smaller scale, cheaper coaster additions. Twisted Timbers was a redo of the old Hurler, and Tumbili is an SNS region, well, you can pretty much find all over the place. So, it is nice to finally see a big time addition specifically for the park come to the park. This coaster takes the site of the old Volcano the Blast Coaster plot of land, which was an Intamin launched inverted coaster that launched out of a volcano, and it was so beloved, everyone loved it, it was iconic, but it was unfortunately constantly having issues, and it was always down, all that. And then it unexpectedly closed for an extended period of time in 2018, only to be demolished in 2019, and the plot of land has sat there empty, just waiting for something to go there since then. So now let's go over the stats for this ride. We have a height of 145 feet, which is the first element after the launch. We have a launch speed of 65 miles per hour. We have 3 inversions on this ride. We have a length of 3,086 feet of track. We have a duration of 89 seconds. This coaster will run with 2 trains with 20 riders per swing. So, some of you are probably looking at the capacity of the trains and the fact that they're only running 2 trains on this ride and are probably worried about the capacity, which I'll admit I was a little worried at first, but you gotta remember, King's Dominion does not quite get the attendance numbers that the larger parks in the former Cedar Fair chain, like Cedar Point or Knott's Berry Farm, get. So I don't think capacity will be too much of an issue here. Also, another thing is these are the exact same size trains as Thunderbird, which very likely is what makes Thunderbird much more forceful than most of the other wing coasters out there. So I'm really hoping that the shorter trains help this coaster feel more forceful than the other wing coasters out there. So now, let's go over the ride experience. First, you will make a right turn out of the station, straight into the launch track, and then from there, it looks like you will immediately launch, which is a contrast to Thunderbird, which comes to a stop and does a little show effect and then launches. After the launch, you will go straight into the tallest point of the ride, which is the park is calling a wing-over element. Then, after that, you go straight into a dive loop. And then, after the dive loop, you go straight into an S-turn. Think of what Pipeline at SeaWorld Orlando has. Then you go into this turnaround over the walkway, which I'm sure will provide some fantastic views for those standing on the pathway. They'll be able to look up and see the train fly by. After that, you will then go into a flat spin corkscrew, and then go into an airtime hill over the station, which I personally don't have much hope for when it comes to airtime on that, as the wing coasters don't usually do airtime. Like, the giant airtime hill on Gatekeeper provides, no airtime at all. So I definitely would not go in expecting any airtime on theirs, but we might be surprised. Then you will go into the big finale of this ride, which is what they're calling a 360-degree Raptor roll, which is basically just a heartline roll, and then you turn into the station, and that concludes your ride experience. Now, speaking of this, as we get into my thoughts here, one thing I am personally disappointed in with this ride is that there is no near-miss element during the ride. Yes, you have the few structures over the launch track there, but I'm talking a moment during the ride where you narrowly thread through an object. I'm talking something on the lines of the ending on Thunderbird, where you thread through the barn before you enter the brake run, which I think would have been perfect for the ending of Rapterra. But instead, we don't have any near-miss element. And I am personally hoping that this is just the animation. They can always add stuff in the future. I'm hoping that's something that they're considering to maybe add during construction as we get closer to when the ride opens. But I'm personally not getting my hopes up for that. I just feel it would be a huge missed opportunity to not put in a near-miss element anywhere. That is basically the purpose of a wing coaster. You want to be able to, like, get close to an object. That's what's great about, like, Gatekeeper with the keyholes, or X-Flight with you're going through the control tower type of thing. Like, but instead, you don't really have that on here. I hope that's something they're considering for the future. And then to wrap this analysis up, I just want to say I am very excited for this edition. I think this is an edition that King's Dominion really needs, as the general public are going to love this. Right now, they don't really have that GP pleaser. I-305, while it is praised by the enthusiasts, it isn't as loved by the GP just because it is considered too intense for some, because of that first turn causing grayouts and blackouts. Volcano sort of had the title of that GP magnet, but it's gone now, and right now, Twisted Timber sort of takes that GP magnet title, but even that can be a little too much for some, as Twisted Timbers is a pretty aggressive ride. Something like this would be perfect, as it's not going to be too intense, it'll be graceful, it'll be smooth, so this should be something that most of the general public should ride and want to ride again, which is something King's Dominion really needs. Also, I'm really, really hoping that the theming is at least as good, if not better, than what it looks in the animation. To enter the queue, you are actually going to pass under the old Volcano State queue line building that has been just sitting there ever since it was removed. It's right now labeled as a research center. And then from the looks of it, part of the queue, you're going to be going in a circle around some giant rock in the queue line. And then the merge point, where you're going to pick the side of the train you want to ride on, it'll have some cool, it's going to be like a rock work, like with some like cool torch kind of lighting kind of thing. And I think that is going to be really cool. I really hope they go forward with that. Maybe put some torches throughout the queue and some really cool, like hopefully they get Imascore to come in, do a nice cool soundtrack. Because Imascore, I'm a big fan of their soundtracks. Especially for the two they provided for my home park, Kings Island, on their last two big editions. So, yeah. So finally, I am really looking forward to seeing what else Kings Dominion has up their sleeves for the 2025 season, which is actually their 50th anniversary. We all know I-305 is going to be getting some sort of re-theme, hopefully to tie in with Jungle Expedition. There's also Backlot Sun Coaster and Flight of Fear in that area that I think potentially could get re-themed to fit in Jungle Edge, which I hope so. And then it's going to be, I think we're going to be looking at some grand celebration. If for those of you, since Kings Island is my home park, as someone who got to experience what the 50th anniversary for Kings Island was like, I'm really hoping Kings Dominion does something similar to that, as they, I think, would deserve something like that. So, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, and then turn on those post notifications so you cannot miss another video. I'll see you guys next time.